Did you hear Herman Bostwick's granddaughter is back in Denver, and rumor has it she's here to stay? Jason Westmoreland's ears perked up on the conversation between his sister-in-law Pam and his two cousins-in-law, Chloe and Lucia. He was at his brother Dylan's house, stretched out on the living room floor, playing around with his 6-month-old nephew, Denver. Although the ladies had retired to the dining room to sit at the table and chat, it wasn't hard to hear what they were saying, and he thought there was no reason for him not to listen, especially when the woman they were discussing was a woman who'd captured his attention the moment he'd met her last month at a charity ball. She was a woman he hadn't been able to stop thinking about since. Her name is Elizabeth, but she goes by Bella, Lucia, who'd recently married his cousin Derringer, was saying. She came into Dad's paint store the other day, and I swear she is simply beautiful. She looks so out of place here in Denver, a real Southern belle amidst a bunch of roughnecks. And I hear she intends to run the ranch alone. Her Uncle Kenneth has made it known he won't be lifting one finger to help her, Pam said in disgust. The nerve of the man to be so darn selfish. He was counting on her selling that land to Myers Smith, who promised to pay him a bunch of money if the deal went through. It seems everyone would love to get their hands on that land, and especially that stallion Hercules. Including me, Jason thought, as he rolled the ball toward his nephew, but kept his ears wide open. He hadn't known Bella Bostwick had returned to Denver and wondered if she remembered he was interested in purchasing her land and Hercules. He definitely hoped so. His thoughts then shifted to Kenneth Bostwick. The man's attitude didn't surprise him. He'd always acted as if he was entitled, which is probably the reason Kenneth and Herman never got along. And since Herman's death, Kenneth had let it be known around town that he felt the land Bella had inherited should be his. Evidently, Herman hadn't seen it that way and had left everything in his will to the granddaughter he'd never met. Well, I hope she's cautious as to who she hires to help out on that ranch. I can see a woman that beautiful drawing men in droves, and some will be men who she needs to be leery of, Chloe said. Jason frowned at the thought of any man drawn to her and didn't fully understand why he reacted that way. Lucia was right in saying Bella was beautiful. He had been totally captivated the moment he'd first seen her, and it had been obvious Kenneth Bostwick hadn't wanted him anywhere near his niece. Kenneth never liked him, and had envied Jason's relationship with old man Herman Bostwick. Most people around these parts had considered Herman mean, ornery, and craggy, but Jason wasn't one of them. He would never forget the one time he had run away from home at 11 and spent the night hidden in Bostwick's barn. The old man had found him the next morning and returned him to his parents, but not before feeding him a tasty breakfast and getting him to help gather eggs from the chickens and milk the cows. It was during that time he'd discovered Herman Bostwick wasn't as mean as everyone thought. In fact, Herman had only been a lonely old man. Jason had gone back to visit Herman often over the years, and had been there the night Hercules had been born. He'd known the moment he'd seen the colt that he would be special, and Herman had even told him that the horse would one day be his. Herman had died in his sleep a few months ago, and now his ranch and every single thing on it, including Hercules, belonged to his granddaughter. Everyone assumed she would sell the ranch, but from what he was hearing, she had moved to Denver from Savannah. He hoped to hell she had thought through her decision. Colorado's winters were rough, especially in Denver, and running a spread as big as the one she'd inherited wasn't easy for an experienced rancher. He didn't want to think how it would be for someone who knew nothing about it. Granted, if she kept Marvin Allen on as the foreman, things might not be so bad, but still, there were a number of ranch hands, and some men didn't take kindly to a woman who lacked experience being their boss. I think the neighborly thing for us to do is pay her a visit and welcome her to the area. We can also let her know if there's anything she needs, she can call on us, Pam said, interrupting his thoughts. I agree. Both Lucia and Chloe chimed in. He couldn't help but agree as well. Paying his new neighbor a visit and welcoming her to the area was the right thing to do, and he intended to do just that. He might have lost out on a chance to get the ranch, but he still wanted Hercules. But even more than that, he wanted to get to know Bella Bostwick better. Bella stepped out of the house and onto the porch and looked around at the vast mountains looming before her. The picturesque view almost took her breath away.